Welcome to the Gotham After Show, where we are talking about episode 5 entitled Viper. What a great episode. Now, what did we learn from this episode? 1, Alfred has finally gotten with the program. 2, Oswald opens his beak and reveals his secret. And 3, all you need to do to get a table in Gotham is say, he's Bruce Wayne. We're going to talk about all that and more on this episode of the Gotham After Show. Welcome, everybody. This is the Gotham After Show. I am your host, filling in for Chad Perkins. I am David Cottingham, and with me is, as always, Corey Cooley.
Bong.
But our guest on this episode, Casey Cooley.
Hello, everybody.
I am joined with the Cooley brothers, basically.
Yes. Basically, yes.
Basically, yes, you can.
You basically
We are.
theoretically you are with them.
Casey over there, you can find him as my co-host on Inside the Force.
Yeah, there you go.
InsideTheForce.com. Go check that out. Part of the 21 Network. Of course, Corey on Star Wars TCG. StarWarsTCG.com. Go check that out. Part of the 21 Network.
Yes.
As is this show.
Nepotism.
We are the Gotham After Show, GothamAfterShow.com. You can follow us on Twitter at Gotham After Show, Facebook, Gotham After Show. And check us out on Skype, where you can leave us comments and questions, and we will answer them right here on the show. Gotta say, I'm a little nervous right now.
Sorry.
Filling in for Chad. Chad's out of town right now.
Puddle.
That's why we cut it off right here, right?
You have a ridiculous amount of pee right now, sir. It
Except
is
that
so.
camera's picking this up. So.
Oh, jeez.
Anyway, we are talking about episode 5, entitled Viper. Not really sure why it was called that for me. I didn't really see too many previews on this for this episode, so kind of went into this really on a clean slate. So first off, we always start off with first impressions. Corey, first impressions of episode 5.
Wow. Completely different route.
Wow.
WOW, people. All right, no. Completely different. I had no idea it was going to do this. Maybe later, but so soon. I mean route as in like freak,
Yes.
superhuman in a way. I was like, I jumped out of my seat. My wife was like, "Get off of me!" She's like, "What's the big deal?" But so yeah, it was really surprising, and I enjoyed it. It may be my favorite one yet, to be honest with you.
Okay, Casey.
Yeah, it definitely was for me the most, I guess, engaging. Maybe I don't know. Maybe it's the comic booky kind of thing. Felt like a more comic booky because of the superhumans. But I don't think I felt it was super early to. I didn't know if they would always go this route. Honestly, I haven't been reading into the show. I was so surprised that they went this route this early, at least. But I don't think it didn't disappoint me. It didn't oh well, now this can't be a realistic Nolan type show anymore. It didn't detract from the general theme of the show. It's still, I think, it's still Gotham. It's still pretty grounded. I feel like, but and they didn't even go overboard with the Superhuman. Really, they had. They had the Venom, the Viper stuff, and they weren't. It was sort of like Arrow with the Mirakuru stuff.
Right.
But
I'm sorry, I almost busted into
our Slade impressions. Listen to Cool Times for that. No, I loved it. I did. I mean, I talked to Corey a lot about this, but I've had my problems with the show so far. I'm watching because I like it still, but there's some things I wish they'd done different. But I'm not gonna be all fanboy about it. But
well, we will get into some of those problems.
Okay.
I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
Because he hasn't talked to me about it.
no,
I'm scared. Who are you?
The first thing I did think of too with you is the Mirakuru, because we are big Arrow fans. Like Arrow, I think this show is supposed to be perceived as very well grounded in real life. So when you do introduce powers, it does change the dynamic of it. Obviously, I think you want to go that route because it's from the comic books. But they explained it, and this is the type of thing that is explained, and we'll get into kind of what it ends up being. But first off, I thought the very opening scene, you have Bruce still doing his detective work. But you have Alfred in there still kind of fighting with him a little bit. How do you feel now 5 episodes in about their relationship?
I think it's getting there, especially in this episode. I think this was a pivotal episode for their relationship. I mean, obviously, because later on, Alfred sits down and like, "You bloody, oh, this is horrible. What if you never find out who?" You know, and
right.
Rasping. Not so much Jason's statement, but but it's cool. Sean Pertwee's awesome. But yeah, I think their relationship it's forming. And real quick to jump back to, because I don't want to change the subject, but the whole being grounded thing, I'm over it. I'm ready for stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I'm ready for stuff, just like how Arrow did once that happened. I'm like, Nolan, it was really cool when Nolan was doing it, but I'm ready for it to start popping off. See some, because Flash is,
Yes,
is really showing that route.
Shoot up.
I had to do it. That's not Flash. but yeah, it's their relationship's getting there. I think it's. Yeah. He says, I mean, it was really cool to see him sit down, and it was also really cool to see them kind of interacting how we see them interact today. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or I say today, as in, today, right? But I had a trouble writing a tweet. So like, how do I say that? So I said, how they act today. And I mean by Bruce involved in something deeply, focusing on it, Alfred talking like, you need to eat, or you need to take a walk or something. And him going, still continuing to think and talk about it, and he's finally saying like, did you listen, did you hear anything? He's like, oh yeah Alfred, I'll take a walk, thank you, or
right.
I'll just set it down. It's fishy soup, so it's supposed to be called.
It's supposed to be called.
But you know what I mean, it did remind me a lot of especially Michael Keaton's and their interactions, because he was always he did such a good job of being Bruce Wayne, and especially in that scene where he's like looking, and it's perfect.
To me, the relationship, or just the parts with Bruce and Alfred, have been some of my most favorite parts of the whole show. I
agree.
I just love, and I know initially they weren't going to be a huge role in it, right? Like Bruce was supposed to be just a little bit.
I didn't think it was going to be, yeah.
I think he was so good, they kept in. So they had him for a reason, because he is great. Little Bruce Wayne, little kid, he's great. And Alfred, they have a great chemistry. I'm glad that the kid shaved his, I think he had a little peach fuzz going on there. I noticed. That kind of bothered me a little bit, but he's growing up. But, so I think I get rid of that. So that's good, but.
He's a growing boy.
Yeah, he's growing.
Even though he doesn't eat a lot. Or go on walks.
But it's strange because he's pretty much Batman, I feel like. He just needs to learn how to fight and learn how to, he just grew up and be awesome. But he could do the detective work. Like he's already kind of got a knack for it. And it's really amazing. But I love that relationship.
And they're definitely showing that. As you said, I didn't think they were going to show that in every episode. In fact, I think he's been in every episode versus some of the other characters have not, namely Barbara and No Pants Barbara.
No pants, my games.
Yeah, so I was I'm a little taken aback a little bit about how much detective work he's doing, because hopefully it leads somewhere. Right. That's the biggest thing. Is
I think it will.
It did take a step later in the show, which we'll talk about. But so this show also focused on Maroni and him trying to make a statement to Falcone. He keeps preaching, "Got to hit him. We got to get back at him." They're eyeing one of his casinos, and of course Oswald, comes, makes himself known a little bit to him and confesses. What do you think about the move? Too early? Did you think it was going to happen this early, Case?
I didn't think it was going to happen this early at all. I kind of felt like he would try to stay hidden about mid-season or whatever. Someone from Falcone's side would be like, "Oh my gosh," and like tell everybody. Then he'd have to, I don't know. But I mean, it doesn't surprise me, I guess, what happened, because I just know. I mean, Penguin knows everything. He just knows what's going on all the time, and I feel like he might become more of a major villain throughout the next seasons. But I just think now it's like his rise, I guess, and I mean he's doing a great job. And I didn't see it this early, but I was surprised, definitely. But thought it was well played, very well done. And I just think he's always, even with how he's nervous and all that, like I think he expected to get roughed up, and I think he expected to be threatened and almost killed. Right. So I think he's just playing it. Every second we see him, I think he's just playing the game.
Right.
I agree. We talked a lot about that last episode, how he he's like the pup, you know, he's controlling. Of course, things are happening to him, and he's it sucks. He's getting beat up. But like, yeah, I think you're absolutely right about that. I did not, because when I saw the previews, I'm thinking like, oh, he's screwed. But I thought it was very well done, because that's what I thought this episode was going to be about. I thought it was really interesting how they decided to frontline that, and then all of a sudden, Venom, and then they're like, I'm like, Bane! You know, I'm thinking like, this is going to be Bane. This is going to intro all that stuff, and which was, I mean, crazy. And to have it go that route, but the whole Penguin thing, I think it was perfect timing, because there's so many things going on in this episode that's one of the reasons why it's my favorite one right now. It keeps getting better and better and better, I think, literally. Mm-hmm. I thought it was necessary. I didn't think he was going to stay with Maroni, but it looks like he's with Maroni now.
Right.
But I did hear something interesting. I was doing some stupid on the internet. Saw a interview with Robin Lord Taylor. I'm not sure who was doing it. That's my bad. But they asked him to do 2 lies and a truth about the upcoming season, about the season. And
oh, really?
yeah. So she goes, 2 lies and a truth. So, I mean, obviously, these lies were ridiculous. He goes, okay. And you're not supposed to know which one they are. So he goes, okay, fact number 1, Penguin moves in with Barbara and Gordon.
Yeah.
And they become chums. So we're thinking, you know, he couldn't even spit that out, because he was like, obviously that's a lie. But then he said him and his mom, Kane, is that her name?
Yeah, Carol Kane.
Carol Kane, team up and become super crime bosses. And so I'm thinking like, geez.
Yeah.
But then he said something, and she said, Penguin and Fish Mooney's relationship may not be what you think. Don't quote me, but he said something within the long lines of, look at that relationship again, kind of thing. So I found that very interesting. And I'm thinking, you know, it kind of makes me want to go back and watch the pilot again, almost to see who was around when she roughed him up, just to have witnesses. And I don't know, you know, it's interesting. I think there's going to be something really crazy at the end.
Well, you remember the reason he got sent away apparently is because he snitched.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So maybe she's the one that told him to snitch. I mean, it's possible.
I think
that's
good.
There's
a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
So the major, those are the 2 storylines kind of outside of the episode storyline. Now, the episode storyline entitled Viper deals with this new drug. And we're introduced to the drug by a former employee of Wayne Enterprises subsidiary was
like Wise and Nick or something like that. Yeah,
I totally didn't write it down.
Like WESYAN or something like that.
So, and he introduces the drug to first a street performer, and I love the sign. I tweeted out the sign. Yeah, I love the sign. It said,
"Why lie?
I'm not going to lie. I'm using money for drugs or something like that." Right? So
people were actually giving it to this man.
Yeah. So the gentleman lays this canister in his guitar case, and he takes it, and like we just talked about, introduces him to somewhat temporary super strength. Mm-hmm. And I love the scene where we get the explanation from Nigma.
Yeah.
About what is happening. Mm-hmm. And I tweeted out during the show, I said, he steals every scene to me.
He's it's such a presence.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Right. But he's a great actor, but he's also such a presence because you know who he is, and he's with GCPD in there, so you're thinking like, man, oh man, like, so that's one of the reasons why, because you're just waiting, like, come on, do something, say something, you know, you're
who he is.
But do you think, Casey, that people who don't know who he is, or you think they're into the scene as much as?
I don't think they recognize the name.
Yeah,
unless you're like a casual fan who grew up in the '90s like us and watched Batman Forever, and you kind of just know the name from the movie. But
Edward E. Nigma.
Yeah, Edward Nigma. Yeah. But like, I don't think it's common knowledge that Edward Nigma.
No, and I don't think that it's. I don't think the scenes would be as good as they are to somebody. I think if you don't know who Edward Nigma becomes and the way he's acting in it.
Yeah. And even go even deeper, if they wanted to disguise even more, because I don't know how it is in the New 52, but the old comics, his real name was Edward Nashton.
Ah.
So if they wanted to even throw off make more of a surprise twist. They should have named him Edward Nashton instead of Edward Nygma, but
Yeah.
Yeah, and I kind of understand the route that they're going through. They want people to understand.
Now we mentioned, I think maybe in the pilot episode, we talked about how Nygma. He right now in the New 52, Zero Year was his big introduction.
Oh yeah,
with Scott Snyder's Batman. Got to go read that. It is phenomenal. It's a big 12 issue arc, starting with Dark City, which he basically takes the electricity all out of Gotham, and then. Fantastic read. Go check that out. So back to Bruce a little bit. Bruce, we get back to him where he's doing more investigating, and I love the scene because he finds that there's corruption within Wayne Enterprises, and he asks the question I think that a lot of people are asking: were Martha and Thomas ever involved? What do you guys think? Do you guys still think they're as good as always portrayed, or do you think that they dabbled in the crime stuff?
It's scary to say out loud because I don't want them, and I don't think it's one of those lines we were talking about not to cross, but they very well could be. I mean, because they planted the seed. I think it was. I'm not sure it was the pilot. It may have been the second episode, Falcone's, I think, first visit with Mooney. And he's talking to her about how the Waynes
I think that was the second episode,
the pillar. There were two pillars, him and the Waynes, and they balanced each other out. And it made you think, like, okay, so good and evil. But then they start talking about Arkham, and you're like, is it the same deal? And so that kind of planted the seed, I think. But I don't know. I don't think it could. It's hard because I don't think it could work. If they were. I mean, maybe if they were being pressured by Falcone, that's one thing. Maybe they may make you think like they're bad because that would just be kind of like, okay, well then I don't want to avenge my parents. I'm just going to sit here and become a rich boy and not care anymore.
True,
but I could work around that.
Well, even in the first episode, Falcone visited Gordon and talked about his father.
That's right.
How his father understood or something like that. I feel like. He gave his own justification, like justification can have crime without law and order kind of thing. So maybe, but I feel like it might be a kind of a case like they could have, like you said, dabbled maybe a little bit. But I think I want to compare it again to Arrow, where maybe not as bad, where Oliver Queen's parents were involved in this horrible thing.
Yeah, that's right.
But then they were like trying to redeem themselves after that. So maybe it's like the Waynes were trying to redeem themselves for starting this Arkham. Almost undertaking Arkham thing. There's a lot of similarities between these shows. But I was gonna make another point too. But I think I feel like that they're good in the end. Maybe that's why they were called off because they were starting showing signs that
very much
they were going against the plan or something like that, and maybe even like they were playing along with trying to be bad, but it'd be cool even if like. Thomas Wayne left some stuff for Bruce maybe to discover. Like, listen, you need this to take out the families, or give this to the police or something like that.
I wonder if it'll ever allude to the costume party where the dad was a bat. And he finds his kind of. That would be.
He's so close already to being Batman. I feel like let's just go take a trip for the next 10 years. Work out.
Well, do you think because of the somewhat mystery that's behind it? Do you think we'll be getting flashback scenes of the parents?
Maybe.
That's good.
I thought about that. It crossed my mind because the only real flashbacks we've ever seen in movies have been the death or when he's fallen.
Mainly in Nolan's movies.
In Nolan's movies, when he's fallen in the hole. What was so funny about falling in the hole?
It's just like, I feel like Joe Dirt. Like, it's just like Silence of the Lambs. I don't know.
Oh, wait, what do you mean? Oh, wait.
Puts the Joe Dirt in the hole. Sorry.
Oh, that was a great part.
Sorry.
That's right. He etches Joe Dirt rules. Dang. That's the funniest part of that whole movie. Anyway, but absolutely. I think it would be very insightful kind of later on as he finds out, because I think it would help explain a lot of things.
I think it would. I almost think you need it because, I mean, Bruce could find out so much, but I think it would take a little bit of some scenes with him and possibly Falcone.
Remembering maybe,
Not just Bruce, but just flashbacks with the Waynes interacting with these crime bosses and maybe putting up a fight or saying you're not going to,
sure.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I almost think you have to see that kind of stuff in order to kind of vindicate that they are who everybody thought they were, which is the good of Gotham, you know? So, okay, so going back to the whole situation that Gordon now finds himself in with Maroni, I thought one of the best scenes we've seen in the show. We cut to him, and he's sitting there eating the lobster.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Penguin's there, busted mouth. Gordon has no idea what's going on. I thought it was a great, great scene. But now, Maroni knows the whole story. Mm-hmm. I thought it was interesting, obviously, when he's leaving, hey, I may call on you.
Yeah,
you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you think, looking forward, is going to happen between that relationship now with Gordon, Penguin, Maroni?
I mean, I think everybody's still under the impression that Gordon's with the program.
Yes.
So I feel that's what Maroni's kind of hoping, that he's with the program so he can be like maybe a hitman for me, or I don't know, or something, like he can help me take down Falcone, something like that. I don't know. But
he didn't carry out Falcone's order.
Right.
So
that's true.
You know, he's got to have that in the back of his head a little bit sometimes.
I mean, he's definitely going to use it as leverage and blackmail.
Right. But now he's got the information correct. Yeah.
So I think he may try to blackmail him into having him work for him or something like that. But I feel like this whole Falcone Maroni thing is going to be short-lived. I just think it's going to something crazy will quickly happen, maybe like mid-season, I don't know. But I think it's definitely something we'll see very soon. I
mean, what do you think, Corey, really, what was the benefit of Oswald confessing to him? I mean, what do you think is the actual benefit of doing that?
Well, I'm thinking a couple things. One thing, I mean, it's definitely driving the plot along a little faster, I think, because like we figured it would come out at some point.
Right.
But the fact that now we can finally breathe and be like, oh, good, it's over with. More things can happen, because now, before we sit there and going, when is he going to find out? What is he going to do when he does? Now it's like, well, he found out, he roughed him up, but he proved himself to him, so now he trusts him even more. Mm-hmm. Is that a good thing because maybe we think he's working with Fish Mooney still? Or is it a good thing because Penguin's becoming Penguin, and he was in the comics mayor for a while, wasn't he? So he's very well connected. So is it, or is it both, because I think it's really hard to say if Penguin is working with Mooney, who's going to double cross who is basically who you're thinking, like, because it's going to happen. I really liked it because it really gave it that mafia, like when he slammed his head down, he's like, I'm going to shove this, and then he went back there straight to the garage.
I know, right?
And turned it on.
Right in front of a cop.
Yeah, and that was another weird thing, the fact that, they put a blindfold over him, which hasn't happened to Gordon yet, and then also the fact that he straight up threatened a cop right to his face, and Gordon just had to sit there and kind of take it, because you had that sense of, if I'm Gordon, I'm sitting there going, I could die. Being a cop doesn't mean anything right now, because normally you'd feel pretty safe walking into a place, but no. You can die. Yeah, but that was a great scene. But I think it's a great thing that they finally got that out of the way. Now we can start moving forward.
I was just thinking, why did they blindfold him? Because it's obvious where
That's
he is.
true, too. Yeah, that was a little
we're in your restaurant, which is like 2 blocks down the road.
Yeah.
So.
Can I walk back? Great.
Take 2 lefts.
Yeah.
Right. Got it.
Yeah, and he's like, because when he's like, can I leave now? Sure, just walk out the door. No big deal.
Well, it's
intimidation.
It's very much. I think it was for intimidation and to freak him out a little bit, because he said it himself. Guys in this situation normally crack and crumble. Yeah. You were really stone cold, and that was really cool.
I think I am going to make a prediction.
Okay.
A little bit prediction here. I think that, because I kind of popped in my head when you were talking about possibly working for Fish. I want to say the girl that he's got planting, secret weapon.
Yes.
Maybe Penguin's the secret weapon on the Maroni side.
Maybe.
Right?
Yeah.
So she's going to take out Maroni with Penguin, take out Falcone with
girl.
I can't remember her name on there, but
Liza.
It doesn't matter.
Oh, Liza, you're right.
Mackenzie Lee, very, very, very attractive woman.
Yes, she is. And they completely changed her at the end.
Yeah.
Which we'll
more
talk
smoky
about.
eyes. Yeah.
We'll talk about. So let's get into the actual big reveal of the episode, because I completely did not see this coming. So Gordon and Bullock make their way to Gotham University, where they talk to a professor who reveals basically the entire backstory of Viper. And he literally says, it has been perfected. It is now called Venom. Go.
Awesome.
Poetry's. I don't
know. Now it's just
now
it's just ticking. When are we going to see Bane? I think.
Really?
I think it's a matter of time. I mean, I'm starting to think like chemicals and stuff. I mean, from the previews from future episodes, it looks like, I don't know if it's Scarecrow now, like what it is. So we're gonna probably see more chemical stuff. So I don't know what they're gonna do with this stuff. Like how they're gonna give it a kind of a little how we know it and how they're gonna change it. I guess is how.
I mean, I feel like they'll try to. If they do Bane, it'll be closer to the comics, even more so than Nolan's Bane.
Right.
Because it's Venom now. It's not just
the
super
injection.
Strong. Yeah. So, but is it gonna be like a Batman and Robin where you just press a button and it gets like, company.
Bane, darling.
Every poisoning Ivy action figure comes with him.
Yeah.
I definitely will think we'll see Bane soon. I mean, I don't know if we'll see him this season or maybe be like a cliffhanger. We'll see.
Yeah.
That'll be like our second season big guy or something like that.
We still need to see whatever, if it is a Scarecrow or not, or if it's Dollmaker.
Yeah.
I mean,
the thing is too, if they do Bane, I would hope that they go even with the more traditional Bane backstory. South American, if he's still South American, in 52, South American, born in a prison,
exactly,
kind of mercenary kind of thing. But yeah, that's whatever they want to do.
Yeah, I can't remember if they've done that much of a backstory. If they have, I haven't read it in the 52, but that's interesting that they're making this, and if it's perfected, technically it's out there, so it's not just one guy like Bane that possibly could have it. I mean, it's it's a whole army apparently that's someone might be able to. I don't know. So
change it and manipulate it, like kind of like how I wouldn't say Arrow.
Well, I mean, might as
well.
Like
Arrow, like not the Mirror Crew, but the other stuff, Vertigo.
That would like Scarecrow. Yeah, but like he says perfected. So does that mean you won't die now from it? Because or was Bane the only one that it's been perfected on, or something like that?
Yeah, I remember because he said, Viper has side effects, Venom does not. So,
okay.
Venom gives you the strength, but you don't have the problem with the bones and stuff like that. So I'm
maybe
assuming
speaking a little too early. Maybe it's just one person it works on. That's cool. That's true. Very good.
I don't know.
That's possible. That's possible.
So cool.
Okay.
So we'll be looking for that, seeing where Venom goes with that. Now, I do want to just finish up where they kind of finish up, which is Bruce Wayne and Alfred.
Yeah.
Alfred comes in while Bruce is, heavy into investigating and detective work, and he immediately just sits down and starts looking through the files and stuff. I thought that was a fantastic moment. I kept saying, like I said in the beginning, he's finally getting with the program that he's not gonna. Bruce is not just some kid that's gonna go play outside. He's gonna find out. Is this what you guys expected this early?
Maybe not this early, but I mean, the fact that he sat down and taking him seriously now that there may actually be something here, I thought was fantastic.
I still think Alfred is just catering it for a little while. I mean, maybe he feels a little powerless.
I think now
it's just like I feel like he's not totally. I don't think he's not encouraging him to really do this stuff. I guess nor did Alfred really ever want him to do all this. But like, it was just interesting. The one interaction that I keep hanging on is when Alfred was talking to him and Bruce says, "That's an order. Like, I want you to leave. Whatever. That's an order, Alfred." And he's just like, "Okay." But it's just like, I still feel like we're gonna see more resistance from Alfred. More like, "Listen, this is it. You're a little boy. You have to stop this kind of stuff."
Maybe as he gets a little more crazier, maybe doing stuff like maybe if he starts to want to go out and
I'm
do
sure
things.
he will. I'm sure it's gonna be like
but
a small
that's the thing is he went to the dinner, right?
Yeah.
Asking questions. I mean, he's putting himself in a very dangerous position.
Yeah.
People ask questions, usually don't survive.
Tend to disappear.
So at what point, at some point, I think Alfred may have to step in. But then again, he does have to take his orders, right?
And then the fact, I think he was really adamant on they wanted wanted him to kind of find his own way.
Yeah.
So has to also follow the Waynes, which that was their wish, you know.
Right.
Let him find his own way, and no therapists.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like the only two freaking
yeah.
rules.
It's like
on
it's
the
a little
play.
card.
Yeah.
Thanks.
But the only feeling I have against this is, are you starting to feel at all that this is a pre-Batman show and not a Jim Gordon show? Because Jim, in this episode anyway, felt like the secondary character.
Mm-hmm.
He felt like the guy kind of trying to solve a murder, and his character, I don't know, the only step I think he took was that someone now knows Oswald's alive.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of Bruce Wayne, I felt like, in this episode. There was a lot of him taking steps to try to figure out Gotham. You know, that's what the goal of his is, how does Gotham work? So, I mean, do you think that is going to be an issue? Do you think that's an issue a little bit, that are we getting too much Bruce Wayne?
I think someone had to carry on the Who Killed the Waynes plot. I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, we've seen it kind of in every episode, where at least if it's not Bruce or it's Gordon, somebody is mentioning it or finding something. And I think lately it's been a lot of just Bruce, because Gordon's been busy.
Doing other things. Yeah. I'm worried that I don't want it to become like a Smallville thing where it's like you're essentially Superman, just might as well move to Metropolis, put on a suit kind of thing. Like, you're essentially Batman, you are going out fighting. You have like maybe eventually I'm sure he'll find a Batcave. I'm sure they'll probably introduce that somewhere. And that's the kind of thing you guys talked about last episode, like lines to cross. And I said, I don't know, like how much is he going to become Batman without actually becoming Batman?
Right.
Because like you said, he stayed true to the lore. He should go out and train with like all the dangerous people in the world, kind of thing. League of Assassins. You know, he has to do that.
Right.
So I just don't know how far they're going to go before that, and you know, how old is he going to be before he does all that stuff. Yeah, it's too early for him to be a super detective right now. I mean, I like where it is now. I like that. It's very interesting for that character, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't know. I'm worried that how far they'll go with it. I guess I don't want them to. I don't want to see him, especially this young, going out there and trying to fight.
I agree. But it almost looks like, it kind of almost looks like he's going to solve the Wayne murders, his parents' murders, versus Jim solving
See, I don't want him to. I don't
want him to either.
I mean, if it does get solved, that's fine. But I don't think it should be Bruce Wayne, because I think that's always Batman's one thing. Like, I wanted to be the one to bring justice to my parents, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, the line, what would cross to make me mad? I mean, obviously he's got to leave Gotham, right?
Yeah.
And then I mean, they do find. I mean, was it Joe Chill?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sometimes it's Joe Chill.
Sometimes it is. It was some
most
faceless
of the
goon.
time, in the New 52, it's Joe Chill
that is,
still.
okay.
So that's very true. It's a big line, and I mean, you know, maybe he could be a little feisty, but you know, I don't think he needs to be able to.
Yeah.
You know, he needs to go away to learn.
You better not see a bat. I don't know. Should he even see a bat at this point?
No, not at this point. No, he needs to see. Always seen it when he comes back.
Yeah,
it's always got to.
I don't think there's any mistaking that they have revealed that the show will end with him becoming Batman. I think they've actually come out and said that now. But I've always just been under the impression that, to be honest, I almost feel like we've gotten more than I expected out of him. Like,
absolutely.
Him doing detective work, I didn't think that was going to happen in this first season, especially.
Pre-Bat. I'm feeling like you said, it's really starting to feel like a pre-Batman show. Which I'm fine with. I love it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm okay with, but I do like the Jim Gordon aspect. And I hope they kind of still make him a primary character, in my opinion. But let's go to the Twitter real fast here and get a question. We've got Bailey again at Mardova808, and she asked, because I wanted to save this, that's why I didn't talk about it. She asked, is Fish Mooney just playing with the Falcone Russian guy, or is she really involved with him?
I think she's playing, man. I don't think she really. I think she's playing, man. She playing. No, I think. It's not. I don't think it's real. That's dumb. I think she's got way more power, right? You know what I mean? Like, she's got way more of an agenda to be worried about, and she never really even was one to seem like, because she really didn't care about the other guy. She's like, get rid of him. Yeah. And then I think she's just kind of. That was the one that maybe maybe that's the one guy that would put up a fight after Falcone is gone. So she's getting close with him. You know what I mean? She's getting close with him. Our girl Liza's getting close to Falcone, and Penguin's getting close to Maroni. So I think it's going to be a good old Godfather.
All the pieces are just being
Godfather
put right
takedown where it all happens at once, and then pretty awesome.
I mean, that's a good analogy because I think that's exactly how it's going to be, just because of the whole mafia aspect so far. And that's always been Batman's, I feel like, first thing is, or Gotham's, get rid of the organized crime first, and then you have all these super guys coming in and kind of deal.
Whole different level.
Yeah. And a great comment from our longtime listener, Russell Berger at King Darkheart, says he's come to the conclusion that Oswald will be the one to kill Fish Mooney for obvious reasons. Penguins eat fish.
Yeah. Very good.
They got fish to fry. You've done that in a previous episode.
Yeah, right? let me just put this right.
Yeah.
When he shoves
we got bigger fish to fry than that.
Yeah, that's true. He does say that.
He does say that.
He does say that.
With his mouth.
Okay, so wrap up this episode here of Gotham After Show. Just wanted to kind of talk about briefly maybe what we anticipate, especially you, Casey, some since you're not a regular on the show necessarily. Get your predictions on for one.
Laws, I just can't.
How do you feel about, because we now know, well, not now know, but we've done a little while, Harvey Dent is coming to the show. What are your expectations for the rest of the season?
I guess with regards to Harvey Dent, and we had a little pre-talk, I think I agree with your feelings. I feel like he's on a DA. I think it's also an origin for him as well to become the DA of Gotham. I mean, if he's assistant DA or an attorney, or he's just a student, becomes friends with Gordon or something like that. I don't know, but I kind of I wish they would go with the comics. Like, I want the Harvey Dent to be like almost like a split personality kind of guy. He's got a lot of repressive history, and it's like uses the coin to kind of keep safe. I would love to see that, just because we haven't had that interpretation yet. But in regards to just the show in general, and that's kind of something I've been asking since the first episode. Like, it's obvious there's a lot of evilness in Gotham, and the police are all corrupt. It's just, I don't know, is it Jim's goal to get rid of the corruption? Because that's not his job. That's Batman's job, really. I mean, that's because he can't do that. Then there'd be no reason for Batman to be there. So that can't be it. There can't be zero corruption by the end of the series.
He has to fail, you're saying.
He has to fail, or they just don't even focus on him getting rid of the corruption. Maybe it's just something else. But so I don't know exactly long term where this series is going to go, unless it is just as we've been talking about, preparation for Bruce Wayne to become Batman. Then the show needs to take a dramatic shift more towards Bruce Wayne and less for Jim, because, as you said a bunch, Jim can't be the one to encourage Bruce to become Batman. Yes. So it's so there needs to be a shift that way, and so I'm confused about the show. I don't know if they've even thought that through. I mean, I'm sure now they have, but I feel like they've changed their plans with the show.
Right.
So I don't know what the creators are, if this is exactly how they knew it was going to turn out, and that's always been my biggest kind of problem with the show is I don't know what their goal is for this, really. But I'm excited for it. I love it, though, and I like that we're getting all these origins for these characters. It's really cool.
Right.
I think it's fulfilling my expectations. I was, we had talked a lot about about Gotham even before it came out on our other podcast, just back and forth. I've mentioned it on this show a couple times where, what are we going to see from this show? We're going to see, all these origin stories, and the reason you want to keep watching is because you want to see the bad guys be bad. You want to see. That's why I mentioned my wife was like, "Why are you rooting for him? Oswald. He's a bad guy." I'm like, "Yeah, but you want to see him become Penguin, and you want to see the Riddler become Riddler, and obviously the end all be all. You want to see Bruce become Batman." It's just being a huge Batman fan, and just the lore of everything, even the villains. That is, I would say, seeing Bruce and all that stuff is one of the main reasons what I look forward to every episode, besides the Joker reference, which which I always look forward to that. But just seeing everybody become who they are. We haven't seen anything from Poison Ivy, so I just hope they don't. In future episodes, what the season's going to become, I hope they don't overcrowd. I hope
Totally.
all these people deserve, all these people really deserve their entire season to themselves.
Right.
So I don't know how they're going to be able to fit some of these guys in, but yeah, I would say everybody deserves.
Very difficult task with all these, because Batman more so than anybody has arguably the greatest villains and a ton of them.
Yeah.
And we've already been introduced in the show to at least
several double digits,
7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, I mean it's just a ton of villains.
Yeah, villains, and then hinted at.
Correct. That's what I mean. Yeah, a Bane. Basically is a hint in this episode. You know, stuff like that. So Dollmaker. So we do wrap up with Joker sighting.
Yes. Where is he?
That's it.
Where did he go?
What did we get in this episode, Joker-wise? I mean, did we get anything?
Heath Ledger was there.
He's like walking in the back.
There's this curly green screen picture of him in there.
Right.
I mean, I thought before green smoke coming out of vents, obviously, I actually tweeted out, maybe those were posies. I asked my wife, like, were those posies? Do you know flowers? I don't know flowers. So look it up. It looked like posies, and I thought maybe, when he says, have a whiff of my posy, a little whiff of my, so I don't know. I thought that could have been it, but
all needed was a Prince song. I feel like it just needed, because you even had that shot. I mean, I know it's not like an iconic shot, but the shot of the vent with the green gas coming out. Just reminded me of the museum scene.
Totally.
And that king, you had the Prince song going on Joker, like, $1 bill. Lay off, Bob. I like this one, or something like that. That was huge. That was the thing I saw. Then if you want to get really detailed, like with the gas, you had the flowers, and then with all that, when they inhaled the Viper, they became pale kind of people. Right. I mean, that's a bit maybe a stretch, but it was something that.
The stretch counts. Well, I mean, we haven't held back from definitely stretching on the show. So
I mean, there are a lot of other good Easter eggs in this episode, just separate from that. But that for the Joker wise, I feel like that was.
Yeah, I almost feel like he, as in Stan, the guy that. Yeah. I almost feel like he was kind of the whole reference in the sense. Yeah. Being the chemist.
Yeah.
You know, the guy that kind of.
Brand X.
Yeah, it's because the lawyer even came in and said, "Oh, he used to, just handle our soap products and stuff like that." I'm like, "Oh my god!" It's like,
somebody pointed that out too. Yeah, that I didn't think about until I read the tweet.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's interesting. Could that be Ace? Could that be
Ace Chemicals?
Ace Chemicals in a way.
Did he die when he fell?
I have no idea. You didn't hear. I wait for the splatter sound.
Didn't hear. You heard the car, him laying on the car,
screaming.
Yeah, but he was just. I mean, he just inhaled an entire thing.
That's true.
But that's supposed to kill you. So I'm assuming he's dead.
He's dead.
Anyway, that will wrap up this episode of the Gotham After Show. We hope you enjoy listening to our guest, Casey Cooley. You can check him out at Inside the Force. He's on Twitter at Kryptonian1138. Still one of the best Twitter handles out there by far.
Huge.
He's Master Koo on Twitter. He will be here next week, I'm sure. Now, next week, you might want to really come back because it's our Halloween episode.
Yeah.
It's right before Halloween, right?
Yeah.
So we talked about doing a little Halloween episode, so we might not recognize who we are.
Yeah. It can be kind of scary, too. You never know.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so again, check us out at GothamAfterShow.com. You can follow the show at Gotham After Show on Twitter. Go to our YouTube channel on the 21 Network, youtube.com/21 Network. That's spelled out, 21 Network. You can go there and check out all the episodes of the Gotham After Show, as well as all the podcast stuff that we have on that. Go to 21network.com, check out all of our shows. Like I said, Inside the Force, Star Wars TCG, all kinds of
graphic
stuff.
Right here.
Yeah.
Following my hand.
We never do it, though.
You have to do it.
We got no time. We got to get this packaging out to you.
3D, spinning it around.
We appreciate all the comments and follows. We're going to do another giveaway here very shortly, so keep following us, keep commenting, and keep sending us your questions and comments. and follow us on Facebook, Twitter. If you're on the podcast, I failed to mention this at the beginning. If you're just listening to us on the podcast, you can check us out on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, and TuneIn Radio as well. We're all over the place.
Can't miss.
No reason why you can't find us.
We're everywhere.
I am DCottingham21 on Twitter. Thanks, guys, for watching. And as Chad would say, stay frosty.